Hello and welcome to Everything Gunners on the Go. Today we're going to be having a special episode on the podcast today, and we have a special guest all the way from United Kingdom, London, today to discuss the running for Arsenal this season, the last 10 games for Arsenal this season, and it's going to be a terrific um, uh, podcast, and we'll be expecting him live soon.
Good morning, Mr. Julian.
How are you, sir? Sirs?
Yeah, twins, Barry and Bassett.
Twins.
Nice to meet you.
What are your names from left to right?
Kenny.
My left.
I will. Kenny.
Okay. And where in Nigeria are you?
I'm in Abuja, the FCT.
Yeah. I've never been to Nigeria, but I have dealt in the Nigerian market since I think it was late 90s.
Oh wow, that's
So I learned all about the Ibu tribe back then.
Yeah, it's a lovely tribe. We'd like to have you soon.
Okay.
So
Are we? So I received your email, which was nice. It was. I don't know how we're going to get through all that in 15 minutes, but we can try.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal fans, there's a lot to talk about, to be excited about so far this.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing: is that when I started on AFTV, my first worry was when I did my first interview. Then the interviews were 6-7 minutes long, and I thought, so how can I speak for that long? And I immediately realised that the issue is that you don't have enough time. I can speak for hours and hours and hours.
Exactly. And that's the
and it's
thing that you're passionate about.
Yeah, and it's something that I always have a joke with Cecil about, is that I'm always trying to get more time on the fan cams, and he tries to cut the fan cams to a certain limit, and I always try and get more time. And sometimes he goes, "Thank you very much, Julian," and he cuts it, and I get very upset with him.
Well, we can really understand that. I really love your interviews, passionate, and you go in depth about your analysis about the matches.
Yeah, it makes you watch the games in a different way, because when you know you have to comment after, then you need to focus a lot more on the game. So it's you have to concentrate more. So have you got your list of questions for me, or are we just going to chat?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So how does it feel to be an Arsenal player, Arsenal fan this season?
Okay. To think about that question, I look at other people that are involved or have been given interviews with AFTV, and the first thing when I got involved with AFTV that surprised me was how angry and upset and depressed a lot of the other people that gave interviews were. And for me, Arsenal has always been, it's an entertainment. Football is our passion, not something that we have to do. We can choose not to do it. And I was always very surprised of how upset people seem to be. And I think if you enjoy it, life is quite simple. If I enjoy something, I do it. And if I don't enjoy it, I don't do it. So this season, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. The football's incredible. The passion of the team's amazing. The atmosphere, the crowd is incredible. It ticks every box. I always enjoyed Arsenal. I mean, I gave an interview, I think, after the Norwich game last season when we won 1-0. On the first 3 games, we lost. And Robbie said to me, "Oh, did you enjoy that?" I said, "Yeah, I loved it, but I also enjoyed the 3 games that we lost." And it was like, "No, you can't. How can you like this? It's like disgusting. You're not a real Arsenal fan because you didn't get angry and depressed." So to answer your question, yes, it's wonderful, but it's wonderful for everyone. But from when I first went to watch Arsenal, which was I think 1976, is that I've enjoyed every single season. Every time from a boy of 6, 7 years old. I loved it. I loved it. And I'll tell you a quick story about the first 2 games that I went to. So the first game I got taken to by my father, and it was 1976, and it was against Liverpool. And he's very risk averse, my father. So, I'm a very young boy, so he doesn't want to get off at Arsenal tube station because he thinks it's going to be too crowded. So we get off at the stop before, which I think is Manor House. And we walk from Manor House, and we walk through Finsbury Park, and we approach the ground. I don't know, have you ever been to Arsenal Stadium?
No, we've not had the chance.
Okay, so one day you'll go. So you walk towards the ground. There's a side road. It's a small road, and it's got a slight bend in the road. And as you come round the bend, the stadium, this is the old stadium, Highbury, comes into view. And it was one of my earliest childhood memories that we gradually turned. It wasn't like you turn a corner, it was a gradual turn in the road. And as we turned that gradual curve, the ground gradually came into view. And what appeared, it's outside the main stand, which is the East stand, is it looked like thousands and thousands of ants in front of, like in the street. But what it was people. I'd never seen so many people in my life. It was thousands and thousands of people. And it was as a young boy, it was like, oh, this is so excited, so excited. So we've gone to the ticket office, and my father's asked to buy 2 tickets. And they said, "Oh, it's sold out, but you can stand behind the goal." And my dad said, "No, we can't stand behind the goal because it's too dangerous." Now, at the time, I thought my dad's talking rubbish, but, fast forward 13, 14 years, Hillsborough, what my dad said, exactly right. He foresaw that, standing behind goals at football stadiums is inherently dangerous. So he refused to did the responsible thing, refused to take me behind the goals. He only wanted seats for us, which was safe. So he went to see so we call it a spiv, a tout. I don't know what the name in Nigeria is, like someone on the black market that sells tickets. Tickets are sold out. There was a very famous guy. He ended up actually owning Barnet later on, called Stan Flashman, who was everyone knew Stan Flashman. You can Google him. Very famous guy, would sell tickets. And we can't get tickets. So we need ticket stands. So what he's already said to Stan was, we're desperate for tickets. The price goes up. Today is like face value, but back then was probably the equivalent of like £500, £600, £700 for tickets. So my dad said, no, we can't pay this much. And also he wanted to instill upon me the value of money.
Yeah.
So he said to me in front of the stand, he goes, "Don't worry, we'll wait till the game starts and then Stan will lower his prices." And he said this in front of Stan. So Stan at this point, he can't lower his prices. There's ego. The word might get out. My dad might tell other people that all you've got to do is wait till the game starts and he lowers his prices. So my first experience of going to Arsenal was stood outside, listening to the crowd, and being denied entry because Stan never lowered his prices, and we stood outside with my dad until half time.
Wow.
And I was close that I didn't get in, but it was like I could hear the crowd, but I was in the street. So I think then they talk about sort of childhood trauma having an effect in your, and what got my addiction to art was that now I have to have it all the time. So actually the first game I ever got to was 6 months later, and it was I think it was like West Bromwich Albion on a Tuesday night. There was only about 20,000 people at Highbury, and Arsenal's goal was a penalty. So Arsenal were rubbish at that time. It was a rubbish game. They lost. We got a penalty, and I fell in love with it. So even though this season is phenomenal, every game I go to, I still have that sound because I just love going. So yeah, it's great, but for me, it's always great.
I mean, it's been amazing for us watching from the TV. The and the feeling to watch the game from the TV is exactly the same as the fan. Would obviously want to come to the stadium and watch it live someday soon, if probably the final game of the season. So we can try and make it there.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience, especially if you've never had it. But what makes my experiences special, I'm still that 6-7-year-old boy. I'm 51 now. But whenever I go to the game, I still feel the excitement that I did when I was 6-7 years old. You can argue that I'm very immature, but I enjoy the immaturity.
Nothing much
because
I wish you could see us in the sitting rooms when we're watching the games. It's very exciting for us. We're jumping and clapping each other hands and
it is exciting. Also, being involved with AFTV, it gives another angle to it. I now have friends that, very close friends that we go to all the games with. I sit with Robbie. We got season tickets together for the home games. When he comes to away games, we normally sit together. If not, I'm with Lee or Cecil or James or Turkish, Stricto. And it's just marvellous. We all get on so
lovely family.
well. So yeah, exactly. Not only are we experiencing a beautiful thing in watching Arsenal, but it is like a family. And I can promise you there is no friction between any of us. We all Kalechi, Ty, everyone just gets on. We love each other because we have a common love.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And it's just lovely. So we go to the games, we obviously talk on camera, we have fun together. It's just an amazing experience. And also getting to meet guys like you. That's the other thing, actually. You don't realise the reach of the channel until you're involved in it, that you go abroad. I could be walking in, I was walking in Chicago and some guy comes up and, "Oh, you're Julian." I said, "Yeah, have we met?" No, it's just like I see you on AFTV, and it's wow, it's like you can't comprehend.
It's getting a massive reach here in Nigeria.
Yeah. I mean, I know
when we started our podcast too, I think a lot of people were like, they will soon be like AFTV. That's what people are saying, because you guys are really, really doing well. And
I mean, I'd have loved to have come to the Nigeria tour that they did last year. Did you meet Robbie and Ty?
No, we're not. We're not. They went. It was in Lagos.
Oh, they're in Lagos. Okay. So it was I would have liked to have done that, but I didn't want to miss an Arsenal game, and they missed the West Ham game. In a way, I was pleased because last season I went to every game, home and away. I did every single game, and Ty did every single game as well. But Ty, because he went to Nigeria, missed West Ham away, so it meant that I was the only one at AFTV that did every single game.
Lovely.
So I was quite happy that I did. And this season, both Ty and myself had just missed one game each. That I missed Zurich away, and he missed Bodo away.
Europa League. Yeah, so
Okay.
like
What's next on the
so
agenda?
you practically answered the second question, talking about how long you've been
Yeah.
supporting us. So the next question is, what was your expectation going into this season for the Gunners?
Okay. Um, for me, life is that the expectation is to win, and only to win. That you walk on the pitch, you go to a business meeting, you meet a girl. The expectation is to achieve what the goal is. You go to a business meeting, your goal and expectation. You meet a girl that you like. Your expectation is to get with her.
Yeah.
Expectation in football is to win. I don't think when I go to watch Arsenal, I think I hope the players will think. So I go into every season and every game with the belief that we're going to win. So this season is no different, other than we're in a position still to win the league, a very good position.
Yes.
Whereas in previous seasons, we were competing on a different level. We were either competing to get Champions League football or even Europa League or win a cup. Whereas now we are competing for the biggest prize for me in world football, which is the English Premiership trophy. So my expectation is to carry on winning. But the difference between this season and other seasons is we're in a position where if we carry on winning, we're going to win the championship.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because this season has been wonderful. It's scintillating to see Arsenal play beautiful football.
Yeah, it is beautiful. But for me, an Arsenal shirt is always beautiful. Except what. Okay, we've got any more questions?
Yeah. So which player impressed you so much this season?
Oh, that's a difficult question. This season, it's
Okay.
difficult. There's no player that I haven't been impressed with.
Martin Odegaard.
But
Ate.
if I have one, if I have to choose one, it's going to have to be Martin Odegaard. And the only reason I say that is this was my conclusion after we lost to Sporting the other week. Is that of all the players that didn't play, came on very late, but the game changed when he came on. For all the brilliance of Arsenal players, maybe it's the position that he plays, is that he can organise. So one of the factors in Arsenal is the strategy that Arteta employed in as much as the pressing, and he does man-for-man pressing. But if you notice, it's often Odegaard that organises the press. So even something small is that I could organise the press. I'm very vocal, I can communicate. Obviously, my footballing skills aren't up to playing for Arsenal. What Odegaard's got is he's got all the attributes of a great footballer, but he's also got incredible leadership skills and organisational skills. And being in the position he is in the central areas of the pitch, it's the perfect position for him to be able to organise. So I would say Odegaard, but there's so many other players that have just been terrific this year. Go to the whole. You could just basically go to the whole team. I think it's wrong to just me to name a few players. They've all been fabulous. Odegaard's been fabulous, but I would say for the position Odegaard's in and the role that he plays, I saw against Sporting that he's probably for our brilliance, and take him out of the team. It just lacks a little bit, maybe the press, and in football at that level, you only need to drop off by a few percent and you don't have the same results.
100%, because I kind of see a kind of Messi style of play with him when he is on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's an absolute bargain for us to get him at that price.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Was it 35 million we paid for him? In the scheme, look, 35 million is a lot of money. Let's not pretend it's not an extortionate amount of money, ridiculous amount of money. But in the scheme of things, when you see Grealish going for 100 million,
Exactly.
counted around, yeah, it looks like a bargain.
So
35 million.
So what do you think Arteta and the players need to do right going into this season, going to the final run this season?
Well, the obvious answer is he's got to carry on winning. If they don't let, up to now, the situation hasn't got the better of them. They've carried on grinding out results. Now, actually, if you look at the performances since the end of the World Cup, we've kind of been quite fortunate. I mean, we didn't play that great at Brighton, but we won 4-2. We really didn't play well against Bournemouth. We didn't play well against Brentford. We didn't play well against Newcastle. We played well at Leicester. We played well at Villa. I have to say we played well at Villa. I don't think we got lucky. The game was a fair reflection. The Bournemouth game, yeah, we can say, to score with the last kick of the game. We still played well, but we rode our luck a bit with those last minute goals. Against Crystal Palace, we were good. Everton, first, we were pretty useless. It was a terrible performance, Everton away. I'm trying to think of, the game. The majority of the games we played well, but the games we haven't played well, other than the Brentford, Newcastle, and the what's the other game that we drew? So we drew against Newcastle, Brentford, and we lost to Everton. We've still carried on those performances. So basically, if we can carry on and get the performances right, the kind of performances that we saw against Fulham, the kind of performances we saw, of course, against Tottenham away, that was a really good performance as well, and not let the occasion get the better of us. Because I've seen this with many times with even more experienced teams than we have now. I remember 1989, similar situation. We were ahead, and the last 3 games were against Derby, who I think were already relegated, had a 40-year-old Peter Shilton in goal. We ended up losing 2-1 at Highbury. We then played Wimbledon on the following Wednesday, and we drew 2-2. And Liverpool kept winning. So basically, in the last week of the season, we threw the league away. But then, of course, it set up the greatest game in the history of football, where we went to Liverpool on the 26th of May 1989 and won by 2 clear goals. And Michael Thomas made my life. So I think to answer that question, if we can carry on being focused and not let the occasion get the better of us, play our football, don't lose at City. We don't need to win, but just avoid defeat at City, and we should be fine. Liverpool's a tricky one. Newcastle's a tricky one, but I don't think Newcastle will be as tricky as it was last season. I think Liverpool's the big one. Liverpool and then obviously City. Just don't lose at City. Don't lose at City. Get draws at Anfield. Get a draw against City. Win the rest. I think we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine.
I think that's quite right. And how would the celebration be like? How would the celebration be like at your end if and when we win the league?
It will be special because for many people, they've never experienced it before. Now, the first league championship I saw was the most special one for me, which was Anfield '89. And that was it was spontaneous. It wasn't expected. So if we run away with the league, it's weird. You look at the celebrations. I know you were watching it in Nigeria, but you could probably still feel the celebration. What happened against Bournemouth was the most special moment that stadium's ever seen. Yes. And the reason for that was because it was spontaneous. It wasn't planned. You get, like in American football, it's all planned entertainment. It's very much sterile because it's planned. You get the dancing girls, you it's all set up for entertainment. It's like going to the theatre or the opera. It's nice, you see it, but you know what's coming. So if Arsenal win the league by, quite a few points, it's all done and dusted 3-4 games before the end of the season. Yes, the celebrations will be good because it's celebrating a great achievement, but it's not spontaneous. But win the league with the last kick of the game against Wolves. Imagine City are winning, and we're drawing with Wolves, and we need that win, and we get a goal in injury time against Wolves. Last game of the season, I'll be ready. The level of celebrations will be the roof will come off. The roof at Arsenal's not great anyway. It leaks when it rains. Not a lot of people know that unless you're in the stadium, but there is a leaky roof. But if that happens and you get this spontaneous celebration that's unexpected, that last-minute goal, then that will be unbelievable. It's going to be special anyway, but there's levels of special. And I'm looking for a level of special at the Anfield 89 special. And one thing I go back to that night is that one little sad element in my head. I was there. I went to the game, and it was the greatest moment of my life. But I remember as a 17-year-old boy sitting there, standing there, and I thought life's never going to get any better than this, and it never did. My life's been fantastic, but that moment in my life was the greatest moment of my life, and nothing's ever surpassed it. Maybe this season will be different. Maybe a last-minute goal against Wolves.
We haven't experienced it, so we are waiting to see that. We need to see that this season. We want to win the Premier League, and hopefully we do win the Premier League. And let's round up by your opinion on Ozil retiring yesterday.
Good riddance. But for me, he's my least favourite Arsenal player of all time. For me in life, there's three things that make people successful. First of all, natural ability. I don't doubt his natural ability. But the second part is effort, work rate. His work rate was pathetic. And the third element is attitude. Even if you don't have so much ability, and I put myself in this bracket on many things, that I have a belief and an effort to succeed.
Yeah.
And he was a wasted talent, and it was one of my biggest criticisms of Wenger to give him that contract, which was a burden for Arsenal for years.
Alexis Sanchez,
and I think we will help.
Alexis Sanchez deserved it.
Pardon?
Alexis Sanchez deserved the contract than Ozil at that time.
Possibly, but then Alexis Sanchez already had his head turned by United at £450,000 a week, which was turned out to be a terrible deal for United. We basically got the best years out of Sanchez. His performances were dropping off that last season anyway. But what Wenger did, he did a very selfish thing. He knew that if he lost both Sanchez and Ozil in the same transfer window, he would probably lose his job. The crowd was already turning on him. So he gave Ozil the most ridiculous contract to save his own job. It wasn't for the benefit of Arsenal. It was a burden for Arsenal for the time he was there. And I don't think it's any coincidence that one of the reasons, Arsenal's fortunes turned around when Arteta got rid of him. So he's not a player. He's not a player I like. One of the reasons I love, and so many people love the present team, is that every single one of those players, pretty much every maximum effort. Even when we lose, you can't argue that they didn't try. And Ozil, for me, he was a cheat. He took his wages and he didn't give maximum effort. So that's my view on Mr. Ozil.
For me was very low. That's why he was shown the door from Arteta.
In Arteta, we trust the process.
Trust the process. Yeah, we did trust the process.
Trust the process. Okay, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure.
Yes, 100%. Really appreciate you joining.
And a privilege. Yeah, no, it's great. And where does your podcast go out? Where can I watch it?
Next week.
Okay, on what media?
On YouTube. We're going to
YouTube.
send it to you too.
Okay. Lovely. Okay, so tag my Instagram in your description, and
Okay.
please forward the rest of your stuff as well.
No
All right,
problem.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much. We really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, we get to talk soon at the end of the season.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully, we get to see each other face to face.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, see you. Thank you.
All right, lovely. Bye.